Hello, my name is Ashley2. I am a candidate for a Master in Educational Technology degree at Boise State University. Welcome to my reflection video. In this video, you will learn about my journey through the MET program at Boise, which will include how I arrived at Boise State, what I have learned in my time as a student here, how my experience through coursework has changed me as a professional educator, and how my experience, this journey, has sculpted my future. As an undergraduate student at Western Michigan University in the College of Education, I took a required course in educational technology. I found myself wildly intrigued by the content of the course and the prospect of using technology to engage students in the classroom. After my semester in educational technology, I found myself student teaching in an urban district in Southwest Michigan. The principal was a technology advocate, and the school was fortunate enough to have numerous technologies, including a smartboard or interactive whiteboard in every classroom. I found myself captivated by the total engagement of students through the use of technology. I even taught my mentor teacher how to incorporate technologies into her lessons and how to use the technology to become more efficient. After I graduated, I moved to Washington State, and after a year of substitute teaching, I got my first teaching job, teaching second grade in a small, rural farming community in eastern Washington. Technology was not abundantly available, and it was clear that it wasn't a priority. I tried to modify the lessons I had successfully used in my student teaching to work with the limited technologies in my classroom, but because of the limited resources and my novice proficiency, I found myself lost and frustrated. I just couldn't seem to find a balance. I continued teaching the old-fashioned way, which got me through the first year. But I wasn't looking to just survive the year. I wanted to achieve total student engagement that I knew was possible through the integration of technology. It was very clear to me that my next step was to begin a master's program in educational technology. My father-in-law happens to be a professor in educational technology at Western Michigan University. And when I looked to him for advice, without hesitation, he recommended the program at Boise State University. I applied and was accepted into the program in the summer of 2010. In this section, you will learn about the coursework and projects that were most significant to me in my time in the Master in Educational Technology program at Boise State.
My first shift in thinking came when I enrolled in EdTech 501, Introduction to Educational Technology, in the fall of 2010 with Professor Dr. Barbara Schroeder. Dr. Schroeder exuded enthusiasm in the field of educational technology. One of the first assignments was to develop a professional learning network. My plan is seen here. I found this assignment to be valuable for organizing professional learning tools and resources. Dr. Schroeder also introduced me to the Firefox add-on, Zotero. We used Zotero to create the Zotero library assignment and our annotated bibliography for our final research synthesis paper. Zotero helped to organize and archive important research in the field of educational technology. I have used this research for many assignments in the MET program and professionally to justify the use of certain technologies in my classroom, such as Google Images and YouTube. Dr. Schroeder brought attention to the digital divide or digital inequality, and through conducting my own research on the issue, I wrote a letter to my principal sharing my knowledge of the digital divide and the implications it has for our students. In Hargetty's article, The Digital Divide and What to Do About It, I quote, "Reports have documented the presence of an internet digital divide, i.e., inequalities in access to and the use of the medium with lower levels of connectivity among women, racial and ethnic minorities, people with lower incomes, rural residents, and less educated people." End quote. Those are my students. The research showed that the student body in my school district was at risk. This hit home for me and inspired my desire to make a change not only in my school and my district, but in education as we know it. We also looked at models of teacher professional development and the importance of TPD in the field of educational technology. When I started the research, I thought that it was a solution to everything. More training equals better teaching, and although that is sometimes the case, what I discovered was even more inspirational. Especially in the field of educational technology, we really have to shift our thinking. Technology is constantly changing, and with budget cuts, training teachers to use technology that is relevant today but changing tomorrow becomes In my final research synthesis paper, The Importance of Technology Integration, Preparing Our Students as 21st Century Learners, I quote Mark Prensky's opinion, "Teachers should simply use their resources, their students." And I quote, In an era whose often unbelievable technological changes we are all struggling with, the mantra for both educators and students must be this: we are all learners, we are all teachers. End quote. What I really learned from EdTech 501 was that our students are our best resources. We need to embrace the concept that as students learn from teachers, teachers can learn from their students. I was inspired and refreshed by the work in this course. I knew that I had started on a meaningful journey. I found EdTech 532, Educational Games and Simulations, in my elective courses. With the support of my husband, I nervously signed up, and in the spring of 2011, with butterflies in my stomach, my avatar attended the first class with Dr. David Gibson and Professor Chris Haskell in the virtual world of Second Life. For this course, we utilized two online learning platforms. The first, Second Life, is an online virtual world, and the second, an online learning management system, was called 3D Game Lab. Let me show you our virtual classroom. Here we are on EdTech Island at the Skylab space station in Second Life. In front of me is the briefing room. This is where we met with Dr. Gibson and Professor Haskell once per week for a synchronous meeting. The content of the class was built around games, toys, and puzzles, and how those learning mediums could be incorporated into online game-based learning. As I mentioned, that online learning management system we used was 3D Game Lab, and this is the version we used in EdTech 532. Here is the user dashboard. You can see my status, overall rank, and total experience points. You can go in and look at quests available, open, and completed. Here, you can see all of the quests that I completed in EdTech 532. Next, you can see the awards that I received for various reasons throughout the course. I found myself to be completely engaged throughout this course. I love the diverse activities or quests that were offered to us each week and found the option to pick and choose to be empowering. Being in the student seat, I realized how influential teaching through this medium could be. I immediately felt a profound change. I was in charge of my own learning. Dr. Gibson and Professor Haskell were simply there to guide me. I knew I wanted to replicate this experience for my students in my classroom. You can find ahas and quest reflections in my reflection blog found here. Everything I learned in 532 helped me to develop my final project, a Prezi detailing how to incorporate games, toys, and puzzles into quests for elementary age students. This is my version of how to replicate my experience in EdTech 532 for my own students using quest or game-based learning experiences. I started by looking at theory, finding those connections between quest or game-based learning and concrete, highly respected learning theory. I used a variety of theory, including theory of multiple intelligences, discovery-based learning, and choice theory. I also used more recent research from brilliant minds such as Jane McGonigal. She states, and I quote, "Through gaming, we can work to solve the world's most prevalent problems such as hunger, poverty, climate change, obesity, and global conflict." End quote. I also used Malcolm Gladwell's research and his 10,000-hour rule, which basically states that in order to be good at anything, you have to put in 10,000 hours. I can't help but wonder, if students spend every moment of their school day completely engaged, what a difference that could mean for them. What could that mean for education? The basis of my game idea is to build a controlled environment where students can learn to think, to analyze, to create, to evaluate, to apply knowledge. Let's engage them and encourage them to never stop learning. If you wish, you can check out the details of my game idea. I want to use games or quests to put an emphasis on individualized student learning experiences, which will help to maximize student achievement. This course emphasized the importance of technology in education, revealed the innovative ways to incorporate new and progressive technologies, and stressed the need for evolving the traditional classroom to fit the diverse needs of all students. A class I thought I would hate forced me out of my comfort zone and transformed my thinking about education. It made me reconsider the direction of my future as an educator. My last reflection is on EdTech 541, Integrating Technology. I took this course in the fall of 2011 with Professor Jackie Gearstein, and here you can see all of the artifacts I have created for this course, and they can also be found here at my final project website. I found this course to be really exciting. I liked that all of the artifacts I was creating were immediately applicable to my current teaching assignment. And I also created a website for this, and it's located here. And here we are, second grade, the big city. This is actually a supplemental resource that I created for a unit on communities in our Avenues reading curriculum, which is a language development program specifically for our ELL and ESL students. The way this resource is set up is along the top here you have different tabs that go through a variety of different activities the students need to progress through, either individually or in small groups. And once you click on the tab, so here we are at home, it'll give you an explanation about what the students need to be doing for this particular activity. For this particular introduction activity, the students are going to actually create a voice thread. They're going to respond to some questions on a voice thread. And the first question that they're going to respond to is, what do you know or what do you think you already know about big cities? They're going to tell us what they already know. And then also here, what are some things that you would like to learn? And again, the technology tool we're using in this case is VoiceThread. Each of these activities located at the top incorporates various types of technologies. So here, if we take a look at types of communities, they're now going to become experts in different types of communities, about urban, suburban, and rural communities. They're going to use websites to discover information. They're going to take that information and compare different types of communities using a Venn diagram. And then they're going to choose a type of community, and using this interactive mapping website, they're going to create their own community. And once students progress through each of these activities at the top and they've learned the content they need to learn in class, then we're going to take them into this digital story, which is kind of the culmination project. And they're going to use all of the information that they've learned to tell a story, a digital story, about what they know about communities. And they've got a rubric of things they need to include, all of which, like I've said before, have been taught through this supplemental resource and also in class. And I've also included here a teacher information tab. So teachers can go to this tab and look at the overview, the objectives, and the Washington State standards that are addressed in using this resource. It also includes lesson ideas and the pertinent resources and technology tools that were used throughout this resource. Through this course, I was able to tie in what I've learned about myself and my beliefs about how education needs to change. I was able to use the idea of quest or game-based learning to develop some of those websites that I just showed you. And also, you know, I feel proud that I've developed supplemental resources that teachers can immediately use in their classroom. They don't need training. They just need to get in there and use them with their students to help them customize their learning experience.
In conclusion, 4 years ago, I entered the teaching profession with an idealistic view of what teaching would be like. I envisioned craft projects and classroom parties, book orders and assemblies. I struggled as a new teacher just to keep up, and then when I looked around, I realized even the veteran teachers were struggling to keep their heads above water. Students today have a lot riding on their education. Expectations are higher, standards are getting tougher and more rigorous, and it's our teachers who are responsible, no matter the odds, for making the sometimes impossible possible. That's a tough job. There are a lot of good teachers in this world, but I worry that eventually, if we can't evolve as quickly as we need to, we won't be able to keep up. I started this program with the hope that by the end I would be able to incorporate technologies into my classroom. Now I'm looking to make a difference not just in the lives of the students in my classroom, but in the future of education. I want to develop supplemental programs and resources that are easy for teachers to use and implement in their classrooms, that target diverse learning styles and focus on individualized learning experiences that maximize student achievement. My ambition is to be a support beam in the bridge between teachers and educational technology. I want to help teachers evolve and see how the evolution of their teaching transforms their students. I am proud to be a teacher, and I am proud to take what I have learned here at Boise State and move forward in affecting change in education.